Yes, YouTube. Welcome to Egypt. Just to the airport, please. Today, going to Cairo. First of all though, just need to say thank you to the chap we met at the ATM, Mahmood. Offered us a taxi with his friend, so he rang his friend up to come and pick us up from the hotel. Brought us to the airport, cheaper than any taxi service. So thank you very much for that. So today guys, Cairo, to visit the pyramids, get one of the wonders of the world ticked off the list. Check in with the other side. First things first though, we've got to fly. And that is the pyramids ticked off the bucket list. I did plan on doing this video at the side of the pyramids, however they shut at 4 PM, which we did not know, so anyone planning to visit the pyramids, note they shut at 4 PM. So we didn't get there till I think around 1:30, maybe 1 PM, so we did the flight ourselves. To be fair, we had probably just enough time. Maybe a bit longer would have been ideal really for doing the video. Getting there at that time as well, there wasn't any crowd really, so some good pictures for the Instagram. You'll have already seen the pictures on Instagram if you do follow me. If you don't, link in the description down below. So yes, got some notes here actually, doing this video off the cuff really, so you'll see me looking at my phone quite a bit just to keep me on the right tracks. So yeah, I mentioned we're in the airport now, Cairo airport, a lot earlier than expected. 5 hours until our flight. But it was worth it. Seeing the pyramids, would I go back? No, definitely wouldn't. Bit of a dump if I'm honest, but we'll get on to that. Got back to the airport, managed to catch a sunset though, again. That will have been on Insta, so if you missed that, stay tuned. It'll be in this video somewhere. So I'm going to start with the good things. What was it like being there? Well, as an engineer, I don't have a clue how they built them. I mean, I don't think we do in general know how they built them. So with how high they were, so many years ago. That's the downside of recording the airport. Anyway, yeah, the good things, just being there was good to see, and just me as an engineer, like I said, I do not have a clue how they built them. Was surprised of how much digging had been around there. It's, like I say, ruined it a little bit, but we're going to stick on the good things, we'll come back to the bad things. The way we did it as well, we flown with TUI this holiday. I wouldn't recommend TUI personally. We tried to book the Cairo trip with them. I'm just going to start cutting the sections out of the video where that occurs. Anyway, where was I here? TUI. So they quoted us, I think, £230 British pounds for this trip. We booked it ourselves and we've spent around £130 on the full trip, including our food, our visas. So yeah, saved 100 quid each there. And to be fair, the TUI trip, I think it was a 3 AM pickup for a 6:30 AM flight. We got the 11:40 flight, so like I say, we could have done with an extra hour, let's say, but however, we did have just enough time for what we did, so I would say an extra 100 quid in your back pocket and a good few hours more sleep in bed, definitely the best thing to do. That's as well also when I mentioned with a TUI trip we had last night, they quoted us £30 for going to the Old Town. We spoke to a local, effectively pointed us in the direction of his mate who was a taxi driver, and we got there and back for both of us for around 20 British pounds. So rather than 60, 20, saving over 40 quid there. So TUI, any TUI tour, don't bother with it, do it yourself. It's a lot easier, a lot more fun, and a better experience. That will bring me on to some of the bad points around this trip that we've done. However, another bit of the video cut out. Let's crack on. Bad things. So I'm quite surprised, to be fair, when you get into the area where the pyramids are. It's £10 basically to get in, which I don't think is bad at all for one of the wonders of the world. However, it's not really policed at all. Like the locals have the run of the land, like the camels, the horse rides are just all over you, constantly pestering you. You say no once, twice, sometimes they'll leave you alone, but there was one guy, I must have been 10 times I had to tell him no, I didn't want to get on a camel ride. I've got legs, I want to walk around and experience it myself. So I was getting quite annoyed with that, but it's how they make a living, so you can't grumble too much. It's just quite surprising how unpoliced it is. It is just fend for yourself sort of thing. Next, what did I do? Oh yeah, people, I was expecting a tip, so I'm not really a tipping kind of guy myself, if I'm honest. You do your job, you do it good, and yes, you might get a tip. However, taxi driver, bartering with him for the ride to from the airport to the pyramids, agreed on a price, great stuff. Got there, he asked for a tip, so okay, offered to give him, it was only like £1 or £2, and then he said no, he wanted more and refused the money, so I didn't give him any more, just put it in my pocket and got out. So yeah, do a good job, you get a tip, but I mean, it's the way of life over here, so can't complain too much. But I mean, it does, just a little bugbear of mine, just what his experience I wanted to share with you. It's quite a long day as well as this trip. I think that's the 4th time I've had to cut an element out of this video. Note to self, don't try to do a long video in an airport again. Anyway, yes, long day. So as I mentioned, we've done this ourselves, we're not gone on a TUI trip, so I can't really comment on that. However, it's our opinion, it's quite a long day, like quite a bit of travelling. 2 flights, I know it's only an hour long, but getting in the airport 2 hours before, I mean, this one we're in 5 hours before. Ideally, we'd have stayed there a bit longer than come here. Just be prepared for that if you are going to try and do it in a one day. It's quite a long run. Won't be back to our hotel till at least 12:30, maybe 1 AM, and that's if we don't get delayed. Next thing, KFC. So KFC in Pizza is opposite the Pyramids entrance, that I call it the south entrance if it was me, so the Sphinx end. Then only went in for a drink and a toilet break because there are no toilets in the area. Fine, went in. Toilets is one male, one female in a room, and then the female worker came out but left the bidet on. Don't have a clue why, baffled me. If you work there, just left it in. So as you could see, I got a little video which I made sure there were no one in there when I went in, just to show you what it was doing. I'll put that up on screen. And she just left it, so it was like flooding the full room. Yeah, told the worker when I left. It just baffled me really how an employee could leave the toilets doing that. Anyway, to be fair, I did find it quite funny, but just baffling. So it's down as a bad thing. Final thing, taking the trolley past us. Final thing, the driving around Cairo was mental. I mean, I'm quite open-minded when it comes to driving, undertaking, overtaking, cutting people up. It is what it is sometimes, but this was mental. People just flying everywhere. It was the whoever's bravest will get where they want to. But if you put your car, willing to put your car in the position you need to get in, just couldn't believe how close motorcyclists were just coming to everyone, vans, vehicles, just everywhere. no road lanes going, especially going through Giza. I think it was like 8, 9 abreast when it probably should have only been 5. Again, quite funny, but just if you was ever to come here and hire a car, yeah, I'll drive anywhere pretty much, but this was a bit insane. That said, actually brings me to another point. I would probably say it's the poorest place I've ever seen. I'm quite well travelled, nothing insane, but this was just, everywhere was quite mucky. Hopefully that's the 5th and final cut. What I was just speaking about was how poor it is there. So it generally looked quite dirty, did a lot of the buildings, but I think that's just down to the sand and the air. It seemed quite polluted, all the vehicles, so you can't really judge how poor something is on how clean the buildings look. However, a lot of them were very dark and mucky and all the windows, etc. But what you'd see is there was like no buildings that was actually fully built. There was either half knocked down or half built, just rubbish everywhere. I've heard stories like that. There is rubbish everywhere, right up to the pyramids, and that is the case. It is a dump. Maybe that's the 6th and final time now, because I'm just about to wrap up. So yeah, very dirty area, but I would recommend people to go. It's an experience. It's a wonder of the world. Yes, maybe it is what I expected in a way, but other elements, it's quite. It's disappointing. I don't know if disappointing is the right word. It's an experience in itself, and it is what it is. Like I say, very happy I've been. Won't going back, I don't think, or definitely not in a rush to go back. Definitely come back to Egypt though for the scuba diving. That's it. That's all from me now. Quite tired. Got another 3 hours till our flight should depart, so get quite tired now. Feel quite obviously sweaty, a bit dirty as well, quite solid with all the sand in the area. Just gonna wrap this up now before we get interrupted again by the antennae. Get the camera packed away, get on the flight, back to the hotel for the final day in Sharm.